Echopoint Medical is a London-based spin-out. We're spun out from the University College London, and we're about helping interventional cardiologists make better decisions. This is the team that supported the first phase of our growth. The two primary inventors, Malcolm and Adrian. One's Professor of Biomedical Engineering at UCL, the other is a practicing NHS clinician. And these are our investors and supporters as we've moved through deploying our seed money. So our seed money, we raised $3.5 million. Half of that was soft money through grants, so we did it on 1.7 cash. And what we've done with that money is essentially take something that looked incredibly primitive on a bench in a lab in UCL and take it to the point where the MHRA said, yeah, it's safe to put that into a human being, which we're very proud of. We've just closed our first close on our Series A, a 4.2 million round that closed in February. And we're now at the point where we're beginning to deploy that cash to go through the next phase of development, which is the one I'm here to talk to you about. But what problem are we solving? The problem we're solving is lack of oxygen in the heart, and something that's really overlooked very, very frequently. I'm sure everyone in the room has heard of stents and major blockages in major coronary arteries, is the microcirculation is frequently not thought about in a systematic way. So what we've done is we've taken a standard FDA CE mark approved microcatheter and modified it with our sensor technology in a way that makes it a smart catheter for the heart. That gives you actionable data that you can then follow up and make treatment decisions based on that patient's actual condition. The other important point to note on this slide is women are misdiagnosed frequently. A study at Leeds University showed there's a 50% chance that a woman will be misdiagnosed when she presents with heart pain. And women are 4 times more likely to have the disease states associated with microvascular disease than men when they present. So this is a very important innovation for the industry and for patients. So iCore is the system we've developed. What you can see on the left-hand side here is an off-the-shelf touch display screen. That's a standard industry one. We developed the console, which contains the exciting bit, which I won't talk about in any detail, but that's the software and the electronics that drives the key bit, which is the sensor. The sensor's based on a fiber optic platform that we developed as a result of the work at UCL. And what it basically enables the clinician to do is they press one button, they've got one device, it's one step, and they get a reading of pressure, temperature, and flow. So all that happens in like 4 seconds. It doesn't mean they've got to inject saline, it doesn't mean they've got to do any other operational work, and it fits seamlessly into their clinical workflow in the cath lab. So it goes over any standard guide wire. Clinicians are very fussy about what guide wires they use. We don't want to make that decision for them, so we're agnostic as to which guide wire they use, which means that what you actually got is a system that will fit seamlessly into the clinical space. So how do we do that? It's our fiber optic technology. This is essentially the way it works. We have a fiber optic cable that deploys along the microcatheter that fires. There's a laser heating element, so as a light pulse moves down that heats a tiny piece of blood very minimally. This thermally tagged blood then passes down the bloodstream at the flow rate of the blood supply, and then it's picked up by a sensor at the other end, which measures temperature and pressure as well. So it's an actually standard thermodilution technique. It's measuring the time of flight of a pulse of energy that we've put into the bloodstream. And as I say, it goes over a standard guide wire. So we took all this, we built devices, and we got approval to go into a 10-patient clinical proof of concept study at Barts. Now, Barts is a major heart centre in London, and we completed recruitment in that study in August last year. We recruited 10 patients, and the device worked. We showed it worked in a human being, which for me, I'm on my 4th or 5th startup now, that's the proof point. You can do great things in benches, you can do great things in preclinical, but until you've got some data that's related to an actual person, I think you need that piece. So the device worked, and we observed a visible temperature shift in 6 of the patients. We confirmed safety, and most importantly of all, we confirmed that ease of use. People just picked up and worked the device. We were very honoured to be able to present at the podium on TCT last year in San Francisco, which is amazing for a very small study from a very small company. But the key takeaway from this is the first-in-human study did all we wanted it to do. So we're now working on a product for FDA submission. We're taking our learnings from the study. We're applying that to the Release 1 device, as we call it, which we obviously had to design freeze for the MHRA. There are a number of improvements we're going to make around the device that are going to really enhance its usability and performance. The market opportunity is substantial. There's an existing 1 billion market, and that's built around pressure wires. So all the big companies in the market all have pressure wires. I was talking to somebody in a meeting yesterday, and she immediately said, oh, they're a commodity item. And that's been said to me several times now. So what the large codes are really looking for is something to differentiate them from the kind of pressure wire melee that's going on in the market at the moment. It's growing rapidly, around 60% compound annual growth rate. Around 1 million of these procedures are done per year in the United States, but we believe there's an opportunity to expand that by adding the flow component together and getting a better coronary diagnosis, and we're going to be part of that. So it's an M&A space. We have seen examples of several companies acquired over the last few years. Neovasc and Shockwave, Opsens, acquired by Haemonetics back end of last year. So it's a busy space, and more people are beginning to recognize the importance of coronary physiology in the diagnosis of the patient. So much so that last year, there was a new new code introduced, CAPC 5192, which actually reimburses the cath lab for measuring flow. So that last piece that people always need to know is, okay, it's great technology, it does something really amazing, who's going to pay for it? And that's the last piece of the puzzle as a commercial enterprise you really need to have in there. But now there's an extra $2,257 for making those measurements. So that piece is in place and will reimburse the cath lab. The physician actually also gets a per vessel fee for measuring it, up to 4 of those. So our focus for our Series A, which we've begun to deploy, is the US. We've submitted our Q-sub to the FDA this month to confirm the predicates we're going to use for our 510K. We've already talked to the strategics, so I like to talk to strategics early on when I start one of these companies, because they need to get to know you, your foibles, what you're talking about, and how you're going to approach the opportunity. And they're very helpful a lot of the time in terms of giving advice. The clinical advisory group we're also recruiting. It's going to be heavily US based. We used a lot of US clinicians when we were in the diligence phase of our Series A, and we're going to start to increase our footprint in the United States by bringing in US board members as well. So the plan after that we've got FDA approval is to engage 2 US hospitals as post-market clinical sites. So it's a very soft launch, but that will then start to increase awareness in the US. So the finance we looked for was 6 million. We've done the first 4.2 of that. We've submitted our Q-sub. I'm here to say we've got a second close coming in the next 6 months, and I'm happy to talk about potentially additional funds coming in to help support us. If we do get that extra money, then we'll use it to just increase that visible US footprint as we move forward. That's the plan, just described it, I won't go through it again, but essentially this is the roadmap to market that we're pursuing, hopefully getting into the market at the end of 25, 26. IP, we've got a full set of IP. It is a platform, so there are other elements to this that I haven't talked about, tracking and optical ultrasound applications, but they're undergoing development within the university. Thank you very much for your time, and if you want to come talk to me, I'm here till the back end of Thursday. Cheers.